Yes, this is Friday, November 7th of 2008, and we're in preparations for the 44th deer hunting season. I think that's right. I might have to double check on that. Anyways, was anticipating 12 hunters this year, but just found out that Ryan Thomas was playing with his dog and twisted his leg such that his thigh is causing him enough grief that he's not going to make it this weekend. So there'll be 11 of us. And I'm also testing out this new methodology here of using my iPhone as a tape recorder. So the technology continues to advance. Beep, and then it's 1, 2. Okay. All right, here we are at the Sand River Shack. We just went down to Tanks, and as I was taking a picture, the lady that owns the place came up to me like a tiger out of the woods and said that I must leave, but the rest could remain, and I'm happy to say that the rest chose to leave with me. That would have been.
I'm hungry. What the hell? Wait a minute. Clean that table off.
Never leave your wingman.
Hey, clean that table off so I can.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
All right. So see, now we've been recording for 43 seconds.
Yeah.
I go.
Hey, it's Chelsea. I was on Pollock Slow this morning in the hole. Didn't see anything but lots of wind and almost felt like I was falling out of my tree stand, but it's all right.
All right. This is Dwayne. Opening weekend 2008. I headed out in the morning to North Knoll, and things out there. It was. It had rained all day yesterday, and today it dropped to probably, I would say low or upper 30s. And it's fighting to snow, but it really wasn't. But lots of wind that blew right through you. Didn't see anything on North Knoll at all. There was a guy just to the north on the property, to our north, that made probably 4 shots, 5 shots. I don't know if he hit anything or not, but he certainly kept me awake. Speak into it like it's a phone. There you're going.
Okay, you just want my daily story? Well, this is Papa Don, and my deer opening is a lot of nothing, except that the weather cleared a little bit so that I could enjoy my stand and my view, and of course after a couple hours I start getting cold, and after about 3 hours that was enough. I fired up the Big Red and come on in and warmed up and enjoyed a lot of good food here, and so I'm having a good day anyhow.
All right, thanks.
Check 1, 2. This is Doug Smith, and I was at what you call Dwayne's stand, which was my stand. As of this morning, which was at Hatchet. And the only thing I saw was a squirrel, and the leaves on the trees just made it sound like there was deer all around me, but needless to say, I did not see anything. Todd came over late morning, and him and I swapped stands. And other than that, it was cold, rainy, wet. Was not what you call a good hunting morning. Hope to have better news next time.
Start over, check 1, 2, levels are good. Check 3, Jason Cuss. Saturday morning, sometime in November of '08. BFU is where I was positioned this morning. Double S morning, slant and slippery on BFU. Big man with big F underwear almost on big F ground. Other than that, a lot of wind, real cold, no deer. No deer.
Go ahead. You're on.
It's Jeremy. I sat on Beaver Point this morning. About 3 hours there. I didn't see a thing. The woods was really noisy. That's about it.
Did you check they were level?
And did it go?
I believe. It's
Test
flashing.
one. See it sliding.
Oh, it's starting to respond to my voice. And ooh, we're making an official recording here. Jerry Cuss. Let's see. This is 2008. Deer hunting, having a lot of fun. I haven't seen anything. I was on the Papa Don's North Ridge stand. But like I say, haven't seen a thing. Just a lot of pretty trees and leaves and all that good stuff. And the kids are up here. I'm really proud of that. Both my kids. Both my kids. Woo. So, anyways.
Ready, it's going. Just speak into it.
Well, decided I would try the.
Introduce yourself first. Please. Who are you?
Hi, okay, I guess I goofed up. So, John Gadava, Uncle John to most of the guys, decided I would go out and try our new stand on CR's Point. Again, the weather was kind of rainy, snowy, kind of cool. Went out, walked down to the point, went past Jerry's old stand, went out onto CR's Point. It was starting to get light, and I was looking for the stand. Didn't have any luck finding it. Todd put it up in the summertime, and I had never really pinpointed it, so I decided rather than to look for the stand, I would look for deer, so I found a nice spot, and it stood there for a while, and about 7:15, I was looking to the south, and for some reason I turned and looked to the back and to the east, and I heard this noise, and up jumped this big, I believe it was a buck, and it took off and went east, and no chance for a shot. So I decided I'd look that way. So sat there for another half hour about, and then I don't know, something caught my eye, and there was another deer coming from the north, down along the edge of the swamp there. Again, it just a glimpse of it. I don't know what it was, and it just disappeared. So I got to see two deer, and then didn't find the stand. But I think I'll go out this afternoon and I'll get on the stand down there and see what happens. So far, like I say, being down in a hollow, it wasn't quite as cold as some of the fellows up on the hill. So I'll go give it a try this evening and pass it on to who's ever next year.
Thank you. All you end up doing is.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Which he was showing somebody, and I understand that.
That should be all right.
Take him 2 seconds and say, hey guys, I gotta show a couple things here, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right with you. Or he didn't even acknowledge we were standing there. Like, put his arm right.
This is Josh. I was on the crossroads this morning. It was very, very cold, very windy for myself. Had a nice nap though. It was enjoyable. That was probably the extent of my morning though. I saw one bird when I sat in the stand, and that was it.
Hey, this is Sam Coos. It is Saturday night. I saw... shut up. Shut up, Chelsea. Alright, I saw a buck this morning. Oh wait, first of all, I went to swing set this morning. In the morning, I saw two girls. Then at like 8:30, I saw a buck about 100 yards east of Swing Set by the creek. Got my scope on it. Was gonna pop a shot, but then I just didn't because I didn't know if I should or not because I'm the new kid on block. So I was hoping that maybe it'd come closer to me so I could get a nice shot, drop it right there. But it went towards the pine tree, and so it ran off pretty much. Then it doubled back, and I thought it was gonna come to me, but then it just stopped, sniffed a couple of times I think, and just took off towards Poachers. Just took off north, and then about at 9 o'clock, so that happened at like 8:30ish, and about 5 minutes later, coming from northeast, a fawn, little sucker, just came eating buds off the tree, and watched it for half an hour, saw it go past and go towards Jeremy and Big Middle, and yeah, that's what I pretty much saw the whole day. I got the 4-track stuck like 6 times today. Every time got off, hauled it out. Yeah, that was tons of fun. Yeah, so hopefully I can get one tomorrow. Hopefully I can shoot at my first deer. Saw my first buck today. So, yeah, it was an 8-pointer, by the way. I counted the prongs while my scope was on it, even though I didn't shoot. Recording math takes too long to count 8. Anyways, yeah, then tonight, want me to record tonight too? Want me to start then tonight? Alright. Tonight, went back out to Swing Set around 1 o'clock after I took a good 2-hour nap here. Went out, didn't see nothing. Looked to where the buck was, where I saw the buck before, good 100 yards out. Then came back and just pretty much sat it out, froze my ass off on the stand, and now we're enjoying a delicious stew made by Jeremy Peterson, which is very delicious, and drinking my Diet Coke. So, hope to get one tomorrow. Good day to start off the hunting season.
There you're going. Hi, this is Todd. Opening morning, I was up at Poachers on the northeast part of the property. Very windy, cold, snowy, and was looking east most of the time, as that's where I've seen a lot of deer in the past. And about 8:30, I just so happened to look back over my right shoulder, and sure enough, here's a deer coming in to sniff me, checking me out. And by the time I turned, he started just strolling away, and I got the gun up, but he was already in the brush, and I really had no shot. So that was my action for this morning.
Hit the thumb again.
Guess what?
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. This is Chelsea returning from second morning of hunt, and though the score still stands deer 2, Chelsea 0, it has been an adventure. This morning I was greeted with what I believe to be turkeys in the brush, which I eventually at 10 o'clock tried to scare out by shooting at, but nothing actually came out, so maybe it was just my imagination, but I swear there was turkeys in there. Other than turkeys or crows or whatever, birds, no deer. So, but it's been fun, it's been an adventure, and hopefully I'll be able to return back next year.
Okay, this is Sunday morning. This is Dwayne, and I was out on Beaver Point, and got a ride on Jeremy's bus trailer as he hauled us out. And on Beaver, I stayed on Beaver probably till about, I'm guessing 8:15, and then headed out into the Beaver swamp. And ended up curling across just south of Samuel, who was on the swing set. Got as far as Partridge, to the Partridge, sat down, had an apple, enjoyed the flowing of the Partridge, and then headed straight north along the Partridge and felt the urge and did a healthy crap out there. Life is good. And then continued north to where I knew then Hatchet was straight west of me, so I crossed over to Hatchet, and nobody was on the stand, which was to my surprise. I figured Jeremy was there. I should say earlier in the morning I heard Jeremy's shots that he'll talk about later. And I figured he had something down, but I thought, again, he would have done that off Hatchet. But it ends up he was on Hatchet handle instead of Hatchet. And so I finished out my morning on Hatchet. We came in about 10 o'clock. I joined Jason, who came from BFU to Big Middle, and we walked in together, and lots of activity from other folks, but I didn't see a thing myself out there. So here, you want to give your morning? It's recording. Go ahead. It's recording.
Well, hey, this is Don. Once again, I got on my stand and I had a nice view, and I was comfortable for a couple hours, and then I started getting a little cool. But anyway, it was time to come in anyway, and so I am. I guess about the only thing that was good is that my Big Red was operating a little erratic and it's cold, and so I tweaked the idle mixture screw open a touch, and it runs like $1,000,000. So I'm that made my day.
All right, excellent. Thank you. No iPhone? Ran out of power. Okay, Uncle Doug, just...
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to it.
Okay, you go ahead.
And I'm just going to be...
Yep.
Hello, this is Uncle Doug, and needless to say, I don't know what I got, but did not feel good, so I slept in with a headache, feverish, swollen glands, sore throat. Sore throat is what came up first last night, so I knew something was coming down. So, we had a great weekend, and we'll see you next year.
You're on.
Check 1, 2, 3, check. Jason Cuss, gone fishing this morning. Fired up the 150 horse. Left the bay. Headed towards that big stand of underwear. And sat there about half hour probably. Maybe 20 minutes. And a little ruffle behind me. Actually a pretty big ruffle. Reach for the gun before you know it. Decent size something. Couldn't notice anything on her or his head, but made it across the 25-yard clearing before I could release the safety. Didn't pull a shot into the brush, lost sight of it, and from there everything was quiet. So another dead weekend for me.
All right, just talk into it.
Okay, second morning. Decided I would go out to the new stand that Don built. I believe they call it High Roller. I sat there for to about 8:30, no action, and so I decided I would go down into the lowland a little bit and see if I could spook something over to Chelsea, who's sitting in the lowland stand, Pollock's hole down there. So, but in the meantime, I saw Jeremy walking along the road. He was just heading out to the stand with a rope, because he had got one already. And so we talked for a minute, and I went back down, followed the lowland over to the crossroads stand. Decided I would go up there and sit for a while, see what happened. So I got up there, and I was only there for a short time, and I looked down the road, down towards Pollock Point, and there's a deer coming up down the road, just prancing along. It spotted me, but at the same time I spotted it, and it froze right there, and I thought, well, I had to make a decision. It was quite a long shot, but it wasn't a large deer. So I took a crack at it, and it headed off into the lowland, which was nice, but I was hoping it would circle over to Chelsea. And, nothing happened there. I went out and looked for blood. No blood. So that was about the extent of my second day of hunting. Very good. And I even got my muff back. Somebody tried to walk off with it, and we had to get that down in the record. So we'll talk to you.
All right. This morning, got up. Oh, Sam Coos here. Coos, whatever you want to say. And so I got up this morning, ate breakfast, got on the little 4-tracks, and went back out to Swing Set to see if I can see that buck again. Got out there, the good 7, probably 6:10, 6:15. Got out there, sat down, didn't hear anything, just sat around, saw my dad come around 8 o'clock, walk around stand, didn't see anything, so around 9:30 I was starting to get cold, walked to the pine tree, walked back to Swing Set, sat back down, didn't see anything for another hour, so I decided that I might as well go on a little journey. Walked to the swamp over by Beaver Point. I walked out to the middle of where that old lake used to be. Walked around there, found that it's a foot deep in water. Got my boots wet. Had a good time. Heard Chelsea shoot only 50 yards away from me. Scared the living daylights out of me. Then I decided instead of going all the way to High Pollock's, I just double back and go to Beaver. Went to Beaver, went up there for about 10 minutes, saw everybody was heading in. Saw Jeremy was hauling something behind his 4-wheeler on the trailer, so knew that we didn't end up with nothing this year. We got a buck, and he can tell you more about that. And so I just came in, and I had a great opener weekend. Hope to get one next year and pull the trigger on that big ass 8-point buck I saw. All right.
Hey, Jeremy here. Yeah, I was supposed to go out to Hatchet this morning. I didn't find it, took a wrong turn, went too far, so I actually went to a stand called Hatchet Handle. I was there for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and heard some noise behind me, and had a small buck standing there. So I did hit my call. He walked around, took off running the other way. I did the call again. He turned around, circled back, and came south, and then ran past me from the other direction. I fired 3 shots. The third one was the final one that downed it. So got a 4-point buck, nice body, small horns, and for me, pretty good weekend.
It's going. All you have to do is hit stop when you're done.
Okay. It is going now.
Yeah, I'll just double check here.
It says 09.
Little number should be going 8, 9. There you're on.
Okay. This is Todd. This morning, second morning, I went to Don's Ridge North on the north end of the property, and got there dark, probably 6:35, 6:40. Got up in the stand and quickly heard a lot of crunching as though something was coming into me. And so I got my gun ready. It was really too dark to shoot, but had to see what was coming. And lo and behold, it was a black bear coming from the northeast. And he walked by me for about 5 minutes, stayed about 75 yards away, and he moseyed southward down the east side of that north-south ridge. Later on, about 8:30, a small fawn came up to me, and I debated whether or not I might take a poke at it, but I decided he was awful small and I would feel a little bit silly, so I was hoping Mom would be following him, but
I watched him scamper around me for a little while, a couple minutes, and that was all I had for action. Also heard a wolf to the east. I think that probably was about 7:15-ish. So that's what my action was. Todd is signing off.
Yeah, this is Dwayne. Second weekend. We just got in from the evening this morning. Second weekend is just Samuel and me. And I need to go to Friday night. We got here early enough that we went out and hunted. Samuel went out to the swing set, and I got out to, golly, I can't even remember. I think I only got as far as Crossroads. I did Crossroads. And
you did Lowland?
No, I never got out there. I got out as far as Crossroads. And Samuel didn't see a thing. I didn't see a thing. Walked in the dark. And then this morning, Saturday morning, Samuel headed out to swing set again. He's hunted swing set every time this weekend. And I headed to Hatchet. From Hatchet, probably about, I'm thinking 8:45, I did my traditional swing to the east and then swing north to the lowland tree stand that's there. Got some nice pictures of that. Then headed up to Poachers, and on Poachers sat there for a while checking out what was going here, there, and anywhere. But the only problem with Poachers right now is there's a big cotton picking aspen leaning right over it that is ready to come down. It's actually still leaning only because there's some roots that haven't quite uprooted yet. Otherwise, that sucker would have come down a long time ago. But still eerie enough that I decided to move on. Went down to Big Middle, checked that out, and then back. I was headed to Hatchet, and then remembered that Jeremy had left the Heart from last weekend. So I just headed down the ridge, Hatchet Ridge Handle, and sure enough, he put it in a plastic bag, and you could see it like a deer's tail. And so I went over and got that, checked out his gut pile, then went up on Hatchet Handle and did some adjustment of that stand. Probably still needs a little adjustment down the road here, and then headed out to Samuel on Hatchet, swing set, and he and I walked in and had lunch and took a little nap. And then, the sausages, the little sausages, and fry them up. Ooh, are they good? They're really good. Okay, I got to stop this for a moment.
All right, this is Sam. So Friday night we got here. I went down to swing set. Didn't see much. Didn't fall asleep, which was good on my behalf because that's been my goal this entire hunting season, because I want to shoot a deer. I was hoping that maybe the 8-pointer would come back and then I could just shoot it and get over with it, but it didn't. So then came back, ate supper, which was good, I guess. Then we slept well, woke up next morning, ate some eggs, drank milk, did stuff like that. Walked out to swing set again. Got to swing set and didn't see much. Saw 2 or 3 bluebirds. Couple of red squirrels that were chasing each other around, and yeah, that's pretty much it. A couple of field mice. So didn't fall asleep again, which was good on my behalf because I'm gonna shoot a deer. And then after that, I kind of just, I don't know, watched for deer. Didn't see anything. Then Dad came, and we told each other we didn't see anything, so we were like, bummer. Then we walked back. We ate lunch, which was pretty much eggs and little sausages and bagels and everything, which was really good. And then I did my homework, my 69 problems that my math teacher, Mrs. Botten, gave me, because she loves our class and loves giving us tons of problems. And then, so once we got done with that, ate a bowl of cereal, and we walked out to swing set again, because that buck's going to come back. And went out there, didn't see nothing. Guess I probably should see something soon there, but guess no. Hopefully tomorrow I'll see something, either there or somewhere else. I haven't decided where I'm going yet tomorrow, but did decide that I heard, well, I guess I didn't decide that I heard, but I heard shot around 4 o'clock, so that was probably Dad shooting the grouse, or 3 o'clock, or around there, as soon as I got out there. Kind of scared me, because I really didn't think he'd shoot. And then I walked back, looked for Dad, didn't see him at the shack, so I decided I might as well just walk back with him. So I went to Papa Don's North. Actually, while I was walking back here, no, wait, never mind, yeah. Then I was walking, no. When I was walking back from swing set, I heard Dad shoot. And then I got here, and I was like, okay, he's not here, let's walk to Papa Don's North. And I got up to Papa Don's North. No, I didn't go to Papa Don's North. I went to Papa Don's Stand. There we go. Papa Don's Stand. And then I heard coyotes, and I was scared for my life. And I didn't really know where Dad was. And I knew he could be anywhere of the above, and he could have been at Sierra Point. So I don't know why I didn't even go to Sierra Point, but I just didn't. And I also grabbed, so then I went back here, because I thought maybe he came back. And then he wasn't here again, so then I was like, well, maybe he needs my help, because maybe he did shoot a deer. So I grabbed a flashlight. And after I grabbed the flashlight, I walked out back just towards Papa Don's Ridge. And then I saw him walking towards me, and he scared me by saying, hey, I'm right here. And then I was like, oh, hey. And then he showed me the grouse, which literally was not a grouse. It was like just a ball of feathers and a head. And then, yeah, did all of that. Came back. I'm really hungry, and Dad should probably start making something. But, yeah. Celebrating. We got a deer. We did good. Yeah. Alright. Well, hopefully I'll get one tomorrow morning. Alright. I guess talk to you tomorrow. Bye. What the heck? It quit on me. Oh, never mind. It did not quit on me.
All right, this is Dwayne again, taking it from noon on Saturday. Samuel once again headed out to the swing set, as far as I know, and I headed straight north on the road. Decided I would check out the different stands that are up that way. Got to the crossing point where you would go over to the milk carton stand. And the water is so high that, and I don't have water boots, that the only way I could get across was to build myself a bridge. So I got all kinds of, unfortunately in that area there's lots of down wood, and so I hauled over branches that were probably 4 to 5 inches thick and threw them all across the water to the point that I could step on it and still not go under and over my boots. and probably took me about 20, 30 minutes to get it to where I felt confident, and I walked across it, and my left boot, I know when I got almost across the other side, must have went a little deeper than normal, that I felt the seep in of water, but it wasn't that bad, and the day the sunshine was out and probably was approaching 40 degrees. It just felt really nice. So went to the milk carton stand, and that one is no longer usable, but I still love that spot. It just is so gorgeous. Must have stayed there for about 20 minutes, then headed straight down to Sears Tower. And Sears Tower, I was in it last year, and it was shaky then, but I decided I would go up. And by the way, what I did this year for the first time was I took my iPhone along and used GPS. So I've now honed in GPS on every spot, almost every stand on the property. So as I then make the annual maps, those stands will be exact based on GPS off of my iPhone. So anyways, I was hoping to go to stand to bare minimum GPS them in. Got up on Sears, and Sears was in better shape than I ever would have guessed. And I must have stayed on Sears at least 20 minutes, just enjoying how far you can see on that cotton picker. But then I remember throwing my coat down and throwing my gloves down because I didn't want to carry them down, and went down with my gun carefully, step by step, and survived it. Walked across to Papa Don's, and the lowland there was fortunately wet, but easy enough to get across compared to there at the milk carton area. Got to Papa Don's, and that's the first time I've been up in Papa Don's, I'll bet you, for 15 years. Went up there, and he can, still see really great around there. But why he ever put it next to that oak tree, that big oak tree, is beyond me. But otherwise, I can see that he's got a great site. Sat up there and looked to the north, and here's this grouse that's movement, obviously. So I hone in with my scope, and sure enough, it's a grouse that's pecking off a tree, a little branch, fairly low to the ground. And I remember Samuel talking about what would it be like to shoot a grouse. So I said, heck, let's show Samuel what it's like. So I fired, and I'll never forget. It was a spray of feathers. I mean, just whoosh! I could see the feathers going every direction. So I knew I hit it. But then the question was what was left. So I got down off of Papa Don's, headed north to where I shot the grouse, and I couldn't find it. Here's all the feathers blowing in the brush, but I couldn't find the grouse. And just about that time, to the east is a deer that snorts at me. So I immediately, focus on my gun and try to figure out where it might be. And then I blew my my call, Johnny's call, his buck call, and I blew that a few times to see if I could get something to move out there, but I didn't. And while I was looking for deer, I finally stumbled upon the grouse head. That was all that was left of it, was the head. So I set it on a space where I knew I could pick it up on the way back and show Samuel. But because that deer was there, the key is I headed north to Papa Don's north, thinking that deer might meander over. And so on Papa Don's north, I stayed there right to the very end of the evening, and just before dark, about, I'm guessing, 10 to 5, I hear noise. I hear shifting of leaves. Things had quieted down enough that there was no question. There was noise to the east, but I couldn't see a damn thing. And I'm looking for chipmunks. I'm looking for squirrels. I'm looking for mice. and this noise just keeps coming at me, but it's so, I can't see anything, and I just can't believe it. It's got to be right there. And sure enough, 5 to 5, I see something just on the edge of the brush to the east there that pokes behind a tree, and initially I thought it was a bear. So I pulled the gun up, and I looked for bear, and I didn't see anything there for a second, and then I saw the ears of a deer, and bang, I shot. And it took off for about, maybe 20 feet, and then did a spin and a flop, and boom, down dead. Just that quick. And but by now it's 5 o'clock and it's getting dark. So normally you'd wait 15 minutes, but no such luck on this one. So I get down off the stand, I head over to it and have my safety off. I've got my scope off, flipped over so I can shoot if I have to, but it's dead as a doornail. And so I quickly pull out my knife and go at that puppy as quick as I can. It ends up being a spike buck. Couple spikes on it. Nice sized deer. And so I got it out and I hang it up, and it all went as quick as I could. The only thing I couldn't do is I didn't have my saw to go through the pelvic, so I let that go till tomorrow morning, and then headed on my way back in here. It was dark, but fortunately the path is so well tamped that I was able to follow it, and grabbed the grouse on the way. And as I hit the main trail, I see a flashlight off in the distance. So Samuel's coming back for me, which was a good idea on his part, and ends up he had tried to call me, but at that time the phone was on the ground because I was cleaning the deer. And so he met me, and I showed him the grouse head and said, well, here's what I got. Here's what a grouse looks when you shoot it. And he hadn't quite put 2 and 2 together yet, but when we got back to the trailer here and we're having something to drink outside, I said, say, you got a flashlight there? And he said, yeah. And I said, take a look here. And I had him point the flashlight in my hands, which were all bloody. And he goes, oh, is that what it takes to gut a grouse? And I laughed at him and said, no, I got it buck. And so we're celebrating, and it's been a worthwhile weekend, a great adventure, another great story. Yeah, we're on our way back from hunting. We hunted this morning, Sunday morning. Samuel headed out to the swing set, which he hunted on both weekends, and I headed down in the Polox lowland. Snow, it was light snow, real fine snow, but enough to put just a thin layer on everything. Yet the sun was trying to shine through, so it was a sunstorm. Samuel didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. I traveled north then at about 8:30. Stopped by the 4x6 stand and went past Hatchet Handle, and then finally rested on Hatchet for the remainder of my hunting. We gathered at the shack at 10 o'clock. Went down to our bare minimum in terms of clothes, headed out to Papa Don's North, and there brought along both a tarp as well as a short 2x4, and Sam and I hauled the deer in terms of dragging along. Sam did a good chunk of it by himself, and right now we're heading for home. Got a spike buck this weekend, and looks like we'll close out the season with 2 deer. Jeremy's shot, the buck shot on Saturday of the first weekend, and Sunday morning, because we didn't shoot anything Saturday morning of the first weekend. And then